What's up, guys? Welcome back to Street Dreams Performance. It's your boy Mark right here. Today we're going to be working on my Nissan 370Z. I'm going to be installing Stop Tech drilling slider rotors all around with new brake pads as well. My things are already squeaking, so it's time to upgrade them. And I know it's been a minute since I made new videos. We've been kind of busy, you know, but it's a new year, so expect a lot of new videos, man. Hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get to it. So these right here are the Stop Tech drilling slider rotors. These are the front ones. You guys can see some big ass rotors for these cars. We got the rest in the box as well. I also got some steel braided lines, but I'm not going to be installing those today, at least not on this video. But yeah, these are going to perform way better and last longer than these right here. So let me start removing the wheels and show you guys how to do it. So first things first, you're gonna want to remove your wheels, right? Which I already did on the other side. I'm just taking out. This thing got stuck. That happens. When those things get old, they tend to swell up. All this is from the fucking water. Oh, look, it's been raining out here. Alright, so once you remove all wheels all around, next step would be pretty much how to remove your caliper. You have to, there's two bolts right here. I want to say they're 22s. Maybe you guys can take a look in there. Those two right there, that one. And then this one. You got to remove those to get the caliper off, and then once you remove the caliper, you go ahead and remove the rotor off and put your new rotor, and then we'll go ahead and compress the pistons on the caliper so you can put the new brake pads in there and put everything back. So let me show you guys how that looks. All right, so I already removed the rotor and the caliper and the brake pads on the other side. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. Like I said, there's two 22mm bolts to remove the caliper, but before you remove the caliper, you're gonna want to remove the brake pads. And to remove the brake pads, you got these slide pins right here. You gotta slide out these right here. These two right here. This one. And then there's some clips right there at the end of it. You gotta remove those, the ones right there sticking out. You gotta remove those in order to be able to slide these pins out. And to slide these pins out, you get like a little pocket screwdriver, and you just hammer them out and they slide out. And but first you got to remove those clips back there like I said. Now let me show you guys how to do that. So I'm gonna use this little pocket screwdriver I got here to remove the little clips back here to slide the pins off. Alright, so I got one out, and here's how they look. So pretty much these things are inserted, and there's a little hole on the pin, and you just put the screwdriver in between here like that, and you just slide it out. And now you're gonna want to do the same for the bottom one right here. Like that, it slides out. And then to get these out, like I said, you need a hammer and a pocket screwdriver, and literally just smack it and they'll start sliding. Just like that. Alright, so once you slide both of these out, like I said, you remove the two little clips that are right here on the ends. You slide them out with a pocket screwdriver and a hammer. They could be a pain in the ass to slide out, only because, you know, they're super old like mine. You know, they're all rusted, you know, all the water, you know, that gets in there and all the dust and shit just they get stuck on there. So you could probably spray some dirty 40 on there to help you slide them out. It'd make it a little bit easier. I didn't have to, but once you slide those out, you can remove this cover right here. And once you remove the cover, you just pull the pins all the way out, and then you take your brake pads out. All right, so once you remove the dowel pins and this cover to remove the brake pads, you're gonna want to loosen up the two 12mm bolts that hold the caliper assembly, so you can remove the caliper assembly like I just did right here. All I used was a 22mm wrench. And as soon as you remove them, you'll be able to slide the caliper assembly off. My wrench doesn't fit in there, barely. So I'm just loosening it up, the top one, so it can come all the way off. It's still on there. Use the wrench some more. I wasn't able to fit a socket in there. If I was, it would have came off a lot easier. But all right, come out. There we go. And you just slide this out, but be careful when you slide it out because you don't want to break the brake line. It's flexible, but you can't flex it too much. You just remove the pads. Just let it sit, but be careful with the brake line. And then you just remove the rotor. And that's it. Now let's put the new ones on. Alright guys, so once you have the brake pads off and the rotor off, next thing you want to do before you install the rotors is you're going to want to compress the pistons on the caliper assembly so you could put the new brake pads in. And luckily I have this fancy tool right here that's going to make my job easier. But if you guys don't have one of these, then you could use a brake pad and a screwdriver to compress the pistons. But I'm gonna use this today because I'm fortunate to have one of these. You can cop these from Snap-on. I got this one from Snap-on. It's a Blue Point one. Works amazing, makes life so much easier. I really recommend you get one of these. So pretty much I'm gonna just put this in here and it just compresses the pistons for you. It's kind of hard to see in there, but this is how easy it is. And as you're doing this, remember you got the brake line right here. You don't want to bend it too much because then you'll break it, and if you break it, you have to get new brake lines. And luckily me, I have new ISR steel braided lines for it, but I'm not gonna install those today. I'm gonna do that on a separate video. But yeah, so now we got the pistons compressed. Next step is to put the caliper. So before you put the caliper, you want to make sure you're putting them on the right side, because most of them are specific for the side. You're gonna want, like, there's gonna be one for the left side and one for the right side. Stop Tech, you know, made it a little easy for me, and they have it on their box, on their part number. It tells you, you know, this is for the front ones, and R is for right, and then the left one has an L on it, which we already installed the left side. But now let's do this one. So now you're gonna want to put your new rotor on here, just like that. And I usually always put a wheel nut on here, the lug nuts, to hold the rotor in place so it won't move around. And once you put that on, next thing you want to do is put the caliper assembly back onto the knuckle, and then you will go ahead and put on the brake pad. So let me go ahead and install this and show you guys how to do it. Alright guys, so the next thing you guys are going to want to do after you put on your new rotor and you put the caliper assembly back on and you have the pistons compressed, is you're going to want to put the new brake pads on. I grease them up on here on the edges just so they can slide in there. You know, you don't need to put too much. And this is just some purple grease I got, you know, brake grease. You don't have to use this one. You could go to your, you know, local AutoZone and get any type of brake lubricant, you know. But next thing you want to do is you're going to want to slide them in here. Just like that. There you go. And then you're gonna want to do the same for the other side, which I already got it greased up. You're gonna slide it in here. All right, guys. So once you put on the new brake pads already, once you slid them in there, all you're gonna want to do is grab the new hardware that most brake pads come with them. They come with new slide pins, the new cover right here for your brake pads to keep them in place, and they come with new little clips to put in there so they won't come out. And I'm gonna grease this one up too, just so you don't need to put this much. You can put a little bit, you can put less. I'm gonna put some just so it could make it easier to slide, and not only that, so you know they won't rust up as quick in case I ever have to remove them again. And pretty much you just line up the brake pad with the hole right here for this, and you gotta push this down and slide it through right here, and then run it through the back like this. And then same thing with this side, with the top side. And he's got to bang them through, and usually I get a hammer. You just got to make sure that like that, you got to push it in a little bit so it's, you know, going smooth and even. There you go. Once you do that, you're gonna want to put your new clips, these little ones that they provide you with, so that the pins won't slide out on you. So they look like this. You're gonna want to put it right here, like that. And then same thing with the other side. If you can't see the little hole, because all the slide pins have a little hole where you're supposed to insert it, you can just turn it. That's what I'm gonna do right here. Try to do it with this one, like that. Just turn it to where you can see it, and like that. You can see the hole right there. Just make sure this is all even still. You're gonna want to pop this out. Like that. And then you just put this one in. My hand's a little bit slippery right now. I have all this grease on me, but like that. Make sure it's in there like that, locked in, and you're good to go. All right, so you guys can see we finished up the side already. I mean, the front side already. We installed the StopTech drilled and slotted rotors, StopTech brake pads, and we did the same thing for the other side. You guys can check it out over here. Same thing. Put new StopTech drilled and slotted rotors, brake pads. On my next episode, I'm gonna do the steel braided lamps. I'll show you guys how to do that in a separate video. But now let's move on to the rear, and yeah, let's get it.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life.
Alright guys, so now we're moving on to the rear now. So for the rear, it's the same process as the front. You're gonna want to remove the slide pins right here, along with the clips right there to get them out. To get the brake pads out, you're gonna want to remove your caliper assembly in order for you to remove the caliper, to remove the rotor. All right, so you guys can see I got the old rotor off, and I got the caliper off already as well. Now I'm gonna put the new rotor on. This is like I said, the StopTech one. Looks pretty fancy. It's pretty nice. I should have painted this black though, to be honest, so it won't rust up. But it's all good. I could do that another time. It really bugs me. So I mean, after you got the rotor on, the next thing you're gonna want to do is compress the piston on the rear caliper. And for that, I have this other fancy tool from Snap-on for the rear ones. So the blue one I showed you guys earlier is for the 4-piston calipers, and this one's for 2-piston calipers. So I'm gonna use this. I said if you don't have one of these fancy tools at home, you can just use a brake pad and a screwdriver and you'll be able to compress it. But since I have this, I'm gonna use this. All right, so now I got it set up in there. I got a brake pad on there so it can compress that side. And this one's gonna compress on the other piston. So you just ratchet it. Just let it do its thing. It's a little harder if you don't have one of these, like I said. I mean, it makes life easier. But you know, we don't have one of these, so you can use other methods. But this is the easiest way I've ever done it. So yeah. And then once you compress, you pull it out. See, pistons are compressed in there. Now you can fit your new brake pads. And now let's put the caliper assembly back on. Alright, so once you have the brake pads on there, you're gonna want to put this bracket, this little cover on so it can hold your brake pads in place. And you're gonna want to put the new slide pins, but the ones that they provided us with are too long, so I'm gonna use the old ones. I'm gonna just grease them up. I already put the top one on, and I'm gonna put the bottom one on now. Put them in. So when you take them out to the front, like I showed you guys with like a screwdriver. And when you put them in the backside. And like I said, the brake pads got to be lined up. The brake pads have a hole on there that's supposed to be lined up that it goes through, just like that. All right, so once you have the brake pads on and you have the bracket back on with the slide pins, the next step you're gonna want to do is put these on. You got to put these on all around, same thing all around. And once you put that on, I mean, pretty much just make sure that everything's tightened up. Make sure you don't leave anything loose. Put your wheels back on, and then I'll show you guys the most important step right now after a brake job, if you guys didn't know this already. All right, so as you guys can see, we installed the StopTech drill slotted rotors along with brake pads all around on my 370Z. We're all done with them pretty much. It's a pretty easy install. I mean, if it's your first time doing it, it probably won't be as easy, but hopefully this video helps you out. But now I'm gonna just put the wheels on, and I'm gonna show you guys the most important step after a brake job. So let's put these wheels on. All right, guys, so we finally got the wheels on. Everything's tightened up. All the wheels are tightened up as well. Now comes the most important part. The most important step about a brake job. You have to do this, you know, when you're all done with the brake job. Because if you don't do this, then when you get going, when you're driving your car and you step on the brakes, those brakes are not gonna apply and you're gonna crash. So let me show you guys what it is. It's simple. All you gotta do is just get in your car and pump your brakes. Pump the brake pedal until it gets hard. So what you're doing when you're pumping the brake pedal is you're compressing the pistons against the brake pads. So when you brake, it brakes. Now if you miss that step, now I've seen a lot of techs miss that step. You know, it happens, but that could be dangerous. If you don't do that, like I said, when you're going and you press on your brakes, your brake pedal's gonna be all spongy and you're gonna crash. So yeah. All right, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to Dreamz Performance. Today we showed you guys how to install drill slider rotors on your 370Z. It'll be the same thing if you're not running the Akibonos, if you're running the regular base setup. It's pretty much the same steps. If anything, it's easier, you know, because to compress the piston and all that, it's a lot easier. But I hope you guys like this video, man. Hit that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for next week's episode, because I'm gonna be installing these on my 370Z. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to do this. So yeah, deuces.
Couldn't do, yeah, I did that. Everything you said I wouldn't do, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Street Dreamz Performance. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Also, follow us on Instagram at Street Dreamz Performance. Stay tuned for the next one.